This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
There it is. Hi, everybody. It is the After Party Live on a Friday, and that means At the Movies with Tim Sika is on the way in just moments. My apologies for the late start. The Mark Thompson show went long. He was very gregarious and fun today, so it took a little time to pop on out of there. But here we are on the After Party Live with a lot of stories about animals today, and one about a massive kangaroo, and one about snow as well. All of those things will come. Please click the like button. Please click subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you to everyone who contributes to the show. The PayPal link is in the show description every single day. I would like to now, without further ado, bring my friend Tim Sika aboard. This is At the Movies with Tim Sika. There you go.
Hi Kim. I liked the pause there. It was good for like drama, you know.
I was building up to something.
Yeah, building up. Yeah.
There you go.
Right. Yeah, there we go.
Tim, I missed you. How you doing?
I'm fine. I've just been crazy busy, but I'm finally now kind of back on schedule. So there shouldn't be any more interruptions, you know, with the me coming on your show every Friday, because I really do look forward to it every week.
I look forward to you. I saw the Academy Awards.
Oh yeah,
are out, and I compared your list to their list.
Yeah.
You were pretty right on the money, weren't you?
Really? Was I?
Yeah,
oh my goodness!
yeah.
I'm usually not very good at like predicting these things, but yeah, honestly, I do so many of these things I can't remember what's what. What did I know? For the Best Picture nominations, yeah, I mean Begonia was in there, I think. Train Dreams, which I loved. If you haven't seen that movie, it's on Netflix. It is just, and I don't know if it's an age thing, but I think anybody 40 and over will really, really, really groove on that movie, because it is just, I mean, it's just about, it's about life and dealing with tragedy, and oh God, it is just so beautiful. Anyway, yeah, what else did I have on my list? I don't even remember.
Looking for the list, your best list. I'm looking for it.
Yeah, I know I have it somewhere, but I don't have it handy here. Yeah, I know. I think if I had legs, I'd kick you in there. I think, it was amazing to me is how many nominations Sinners received. It got 16 nominations. Wow. That's a record for any movie. I think that's kind of overkill. I did not really get that movie. I think it's a little overrated. I don't know if you saw it, but it's really two movies in one. The first half of the movie is this historical kind of drama, and the second half of the movie is a vampire movie. And I just don't think the two halves, work side by side. It doesn't seem like one movie. It seems like two movies. I don't really know what the point of it was, but let me just go down the list here. Yeah, this is, I'll tell you, I think I'll tell you what I think is going to win for Best Picture. One Battle After Another. I think that's going to win, but I think that's overrated too. I think Actor in a Leading Role is going to go to probably Timothée Chalamet. I mean, he's getting a lot of good buzz from Marty Supreme. I wish Ethan Hawke would win for Blue Moon, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Actress in a Leading Role is going to go to, it's either going to be between Jessie Buckley for Hamnet or Rose Byrne. If I had legs, I'd kick you. If I had my druthers, it would be Rose Byrne, but I have a feeling Jessie Buckley's really gaining more momentum. Yeah, actress in a supporting role, I think, is going to go to Amy Madigan for Weapons. Actor in a supporting role will probably go to Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another. Oh yeah, there's my list. Train Dreams, Begonia, Blue Moon, Riefenstahl. Yeah, nobody saw that. Splitsville, Sorry Baby. I think didn't that get a nomination for screenplay? It may have. Boys Go to Jupiter. No. I don't think that was on anybody that I know their best list. The Life of Chuck, I think, got a nomination, a writing nomination. If I had legs, I'd kick you. Yeah, I guess so.
I guess you did pretty well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so. Yeah, and I'm saying all this stuff. I'm usually the worst predictor on who's going to win. I usually maybe get 50-50. I tend to predict less and less every year. But yeah, I mean, I think the nominations, show a really diverse um, collection of movies. Just the Best Picture nominees alone. Although F1, that racing movie,
You didn't like it.
I think that's a bad film. I just think it's a poor film. I'm shocked at that. But there's always one or two junky movies that make it in there.
I watched it streaming the other night, and
did you like it?
But it wasn't bad streaming. It wasn't like the best movie I ever saw, but it wasn't the worst either. I mean,
yeah. Well, my opinion of it is coming from the standpoint that I've seen pretty much every race car movie that's ever come out of Hollywood, and this one to me was a ripoff of all those movies. It was the same race, like repeated eight times. I just thought it just didn't do anything for me. I just thought I don't. But after the first 10 minutes, I thought, I don't even need to see the rest of this. I know exactly how it's going to go. I predicted every race, how it was all going to go. By the time it was over, I just thought, God, did I just waste 2.5 hours of my life?
Well, you got the Razzies right as well, because those came out. And this,
really? What? I didn't see the Razzies.
Snow White, which I have on the screen right now. That was nominated for one of the worst movies. And also this one, The War of the Worlds 2025, that was nominated for the worst movie. The Electric State, Hurry Up Tomorrow, Star Trek Section 31.
Yeah, I hear that's a real dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what this War of the Worlds 2025 is. Is it another remake of the H.G. Wells? I don't know.
I know is Ice-T stars in it, and he's also nominated for the worst actor.
Worst actor. Yeah, let's see. Ice Cube, War of the World, Jared Leto, Tron Air. Yeah, I would have him in there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, worst actress. What do we got there? Ariana DeBose for Love Hurts. Was that a Netflix movie? I don't know if I saw that. It's funny. I haven't seen a lot of these. Thank God. I mean, I think I dodged a bullet on. If these are accurate, I dodged a bullet. I think. Brideheart, Fountain of Youth. Have you seen the? There's a new romantic comedy on Netflix. Something about people we meet on vacation. Does that ring a bell? Did you see that one?
I don't think I have seen that one.
I think you would like it. I mean, for the first hour and a half, I'm going, okay, this is really lame. But in the last half hour, it kind of comes together. And I actually thought of you when I was watching it, and I thought maybe you would bring it up. I watched it on a lark about 2 weeks ago, and I was going to talk about it last week, but I wasn't able to be on the show. But I was just curious if you saw it. I think it's called People We Meet on Vacation. Yeah,
is this it? I think I can show it to you.
Yeah, is it?
I now have it on my Tim Sika list.
Yeah, I think you would like it. Yeah, People We Meet. That's the one. Yeah,
People We Meet on Vacation. All right.
Yeah, it has some nice things in it. I mean, it had some lame things in it too, but it's not bad. I think especially if you're a fan of romantic comedies, I think there's enough in it to while away your time on.
All right. Well, that's good. I like it.
Yeah, good.
Your first movie that you have for us this week, though, is called Mercy.
Oh yeah, did you get my follow-up email with the Mel Brooks movie on it?
Oh,
Probably
no,
not.
I didn't.
Yeah. That's okay, but we'll talk about that after. But Mercy, good. Let's start out with the worst film we could even be talking about, which is Mercy. It doesn't really deserve a whole lot of words, really. It's not a very good movie. It's bland and it adds nothing to the genre. It pretends to presence. I read the Daily Beast, one of the few sites reviewing movies that I still read. Their headline for their review was, which pretty much sums up my sentiments about it. It said, "The worst movie of 2026 is here, and it's only January." And they were talking about Mercy, and I thought, I got to steal that line. But yeah, it's a science fiction action sort of thriller. It stars Chris Pratt. It takes place in Los Angeles. The year is 2029, right? And AI is everywhere. It's kind of in full force. It's also trying to predict, AI is getting kind of, it's progressing so rapidly that in 3 years it's going to look like this movie. Pratt plays this detective who's on trial, accused of murdering his wife, and he's got 90 minutes to prove that he has to prove his innocence to this advanced AI judge and jury. And that's about all you need to know. It was shot, this this movie was actually shot and presented in 3D and IMAX, which, considering the fact that most of it's in a courtroom, is just ridiculous. There's no cinematic reason or justification, really, why on God's green earth this movie is being presented in 3D and IMAX. It just seems ridiculous and exploits IMAX, clearly for commercial reasons. You do not need to see this movie in IMAX. In a way, you don't even need to see it on a big screen. It probably would play better on a small screen. Anyway, the movie itself is dumb and silly and goofy and just plain stupid. So don't waste your time and upset about Mercy.
Not recommended. Yeah,
no, forget it. Yeah, don't pretend that it doesn't exist. Pretend I didn't even talk about it.
Okay. Private Life. This one stars Jodie Foster. I like her.
Yeah, I love her too. I think she's consistently wonderful. This is a very interesting movie. I don't know if it's a completely successful one, but it's a very interesting one. Jodie Foster plays a psychiatrist, and the plot is that one of her patients who skipped her last 3 sessions with her therapy sessions, it turns out that this patient died in an apparent suicide. But because of, all the tapes that this psychiatrist has kept of her in this patient's sessions, the psychiatrist comes to suspect that this woman did not die from suicide, but that she, in fact, was murdered. Okay, so that's a kind of an interesting premise. The movie's in French with English subtitles. It's the first movie that Jodie Foster's done all in the French language. She speaks fluent French. I guess she learned it as a child. Her mother insisted that she, learn French, and I guess because she was so young, she absorbed it, and she's very fluent in it. And her performance is very good. I mean, she's always great as this psychiatrist who we think maybe at one point is kind of losing it. One moment you think, hey, she may be onto something here, but then she could also be losing her mind. I mean, especially she's this dyed-in-the-wool Freudian psychiatrist. There's a moment where she goes and visits a hypnotist, and she doesn't really believe this, but she's kind of like at her wit's end. She's looking for answers, and it's a crazy sequence. But and I said I'm unsure if this movie has been successfully told here, because my takeaway is like, well, what am I supposed to take away from this movie? But to its credit, the movie is always engaging. It keeps you guessing. It weirdly kind of holds your interest despite its, I can't think of the word, not dense. It's got like very stringy plotting. You're like going, huh? Oh, okay. Huh? Oh, okay. It's like, it has very jagged plotting. But I did like it. And I'm recommending it because it's, like I say, it's reasonably engaging. Foster playing the role in the French, in this role in the French language is very intriguing. The French just I don't know. I mean, it just gives her performance a bit of a lift, a little bit of more gravitas. I don't know, that I'm probably just projecting on that. But watching her act in fluent French is interesting. And there's also the ending, which I think is saying something about taking ownership for the consequences of our individual actions, that everything really goes back to us and not anyone else. And subtle distinctions are made, like via this character, the psychiatrist, between, I don't know how to say this, the notion of not guilty and responsibility, that responsibility can be individually assumed without it necessarily bringing on like a guilt complex or something. Or maybe I'm reading too much into this movie. I don't know if that even makes any sense. Yeah. But also strangely enough, regarding the ending of the movie, the ending is surprisingly incredibly moving, or at least it was to me. So there's something somewhat indefinable about this movie that makes me want to consider a second look, which is more than I can say about most of the movies that I watch these days. So I give it props for that. I mean, I don't know what it means. I don't know what it necessarily implies, but there's a lot of indefinable stuff kicking around in it, I guess I'll say. And I liked it. I loved Foster. I mean, she's always a joy to watch. She's just so consummate an actress.
Is this one in theaters?
Yes, it's in theaters. Yeah, it opens, I believe it opens today, and then it expands in more and more theaters each subsequent week. So yeah, it's called A Private Life, and it's very interesting.
Or Vie Privée.
Oh, is that of V Privé?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
at least
I
that's
took.
on the poster, so I don't know.
Yeah, okay. I took. Oh, yeah, that's right. I took 4.5 years of Spanish. So, yeah, I didn't,
Me
you're
too.
right. That's what it said.
Yes.
Really, you did too? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Death by Lightning. I have seen this series.
Okay, I was late to the game with Death by Lightning, but I caught up to it, and I really really liked it. So I wanted to bring it to people's attention. I was finally able to catch up on it, and I loved it. If I had to choose one pick for our after party audience to check out for the week, I would say, hey, make it be Death by Lightning. It's a 4-part historical historical drama about two largely forgotten historical personages: the 20th president of the United States, James Garfield, and a crazy man, Charles Guiteau, who wound up assassinating Garfield. Yeah, so it's a historical drama miniseries, as you said. It's created by this guy named Mike Makowski, and it's based on this book, 2011 book called Destiny of the Republic, A Tale of Madness, Medicine, and the Murder of a President by Candace Millard, which I'm in the middle of reading. I thought this series was so good, it actually got me to check out the book that it's based on.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, this is a series, 4-part, that's characterized by outstanding period detail, superb performances. It's little known American history, but it's history that had events played out differently. I mean, well, you can say that about any historical event, but if events leading up to the assassination of Garfield, if they played out differently, you could argue, although there's really no way of ever knowing, but you could argue that our country, the US, may have looked significantly better today had Garfield not been assassinated. Garfield was a really decent man, and he was, for his time, he was politically progressive in similar ways that Lincoln was progressive. But anyway, I found it a fascinating miniseries. I think it's catnip for those who love political or historical dramas. Michael Shannon plays Garfield, proving to me once and for all that guy can play just about anything. And what's his name? Matthew McFadden of Succession notoriety. He plays Charles Guiteau. This guy was deluded and mentally unbalanced, and he was the one, that murdered Garfield, and who was eventually hanged for that crime. So it's excellent. It's excellent. What did you think of it?
I wondered how historically accurate it is.
Well, I'm reading the book, which is footnoted. There have been maybe a couple finesses for dramatic storytelling purposes, but for the most part, it's pretty accurate. I mean, I'm about halfway through the book, and the book is almost the series. I'm going, yeah, this is exactly the way they dramatized it. Now, I don't know if Garfield's wife actually went to see Guiteau in jail and basically said, you're not going to be famous. I'm going to make sure what you did to my... That seems, I don't know. I haven't gotten that far in the book.
I was fascinated by that. Okay, so I wasn't going to give away the end, but that's what it is. She goes to see him in jail. And she goes, your name will be forgotten. This will be forgotten. You will never be famous. You will be nothing. You will be, if you were trying to get notoriety, you will get nothing.
Exactly. And the movie, I love
because we talk about assassinations of JFK and deaths of other presidents, but we don't really talk about Garfield. And it has, to me at least, seemed like forgotten history. So when I clicked on this, I had no idea what it was about, and I felt like I came away knowing so much more.
Me too, because I really didn't know. I mean, all I knew about Garfield is what I was taught in school, that he was president not very long, like 4 months or something, right, and that he was shot, and that he was medically kind of maltreated, not maliciously or anything, but the methods they used to try to cure him actually made him worse, actually made him sicker because of infection. The doctor that performed, that worked on him, was using unsanitary means and kept stabbing him and trying to find the bullet. And it didn't matter anyway, I don't want to give too much away, but isn't it interesting? You liked it. Huh.
I did.
Yeah.
It was weird. I thought it was at the beginning, I'm like, this is weird, but interesting. And then I thought, okay, did this really happen? And I kind of start looking into it a little bit. And by the end, I was glad I watched it. So
Yeah, same. Yeah, me
mhm.
too. I loved how it opened. I mean, how it opened was like a dramatic device, but these guys are in this warehouse and they find this jar with a brain in it
Mhm.
that's surrounded by formaldehyde, and it says the brain of Charles Guiteau, and one of them says, "Who the hell was Charles Guiteau?" And then the movie
Yeah.
starts, goes into like period detail, but yeah, we agree. Yeah, I liked it too. Yeah, I liked it
And
a
it's
lot.
easy because it's on Netflix.
It's
So
on
yeah,
Netflix. Yeah. I watched it in one sitting. I was surprised.
yeah.
I never watch things in one sitting, but I mean,
You did?
it helps. Yeah, it helps that, it's a very easy binge at just 40 plus minutes and it's installments, so yeah.
And it made me realize, okay, that because you look around today and you see crazy people with guns and just
Yeah.
nutty people, and it made me feel like at least it's not just us and this generation, that there have been
No.
people that have been
Yeah.
cray through time. So
Exactly. Yeah, it's
mhm,
almost like we're not. I mean, and they didn't go into this. I mean, they implied it because the president at the time Garfield was nominated on the Republican ticket was Ulysses S. Grant, and he had probably. You could make the argument that his two administrations were just as corrupt as Trump's. Although, I mean, not as outrageously wild, but the corruption in Grant's two terms. It was called the spoils system, and that's gone into a little bit with these other politicians, these other characters in the story. But yeah, you know what? What is it? Everything old is new again, or everything new
mhm.
is old again. Whatever. It's cyclic. Yeah, I mean, in a way, if you look at history, yeah, we keep repeating, and we never really learn. I don't know.
Yeah, we're on a hamster wheel.
On a
Eileen says,
hamster wheel.
yes, medical malpractice really tortured Garfield with his treatments, she writes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Tammy says Death by Lightning was a great series,
yeah.
excellent cast.
I
Noah
agree.
Fidian says, was his name forgotten? I had never heard of it until I saw this series. So
Yeah, well, I knew about it because I was a fan of this musical, which probably now in this day and age will never be revived, because it's about. It was a Stephen Sondheim musical called Assassins, and it was about individuals who tried successfully or unsuccessfully to assassinate a president. So I knew about Charles Guiteau through the episode in that musical that talked about him and
mhm.
showed him and how crazy he was and everything. So I knew, but otherwise I would never have heard of Charles Guiteau. If you ask anybody on the street, they wouldn't know who he is.
No,
Most
I
people
totally
don't.
not. Mm-mm.
Yeah. But I wanted to, I sent you another email because there was another movie I wanted to bring attention to people that dropped today on HBO Max about Mel Brooks. Yeah, there you put it up.
Mhm,
Yeah,
yep.
Mel Brooks, the 99-year-old man. It's a Judd Apatow documentary. And yeah, I mean, what is there to say about Mel Brooks? I mean, he's crazy insane. He's an iconic
Mhm.
name in comedy. And this movie, admittedly, is on the hagiography side. I don't know how really deep it goes, but there are a few brushstrokes of like the other side of Mel Brooks, like when he lost his wife,
Yeah.
Anne Bancroft, to cancer.
Mhm.
They talked about his first marriage. Which resulted in 3 children, to a woman who they got divorced because he was in a creative slump and he was just impossible to live with anyway. It's one of the things to look forward to in the movie. But yeah, Mel Brooks was born Melvin Kaminsky, and he was born in Brooklyn. And this movie is his life as a comic, as a writer, as a movie director, as a composer, as a lyricist, as a producer. I mean, he's done it all. I hadn't really realized that, because you mostly think of Mel Brooks and you just laugh because you think of he's just a funny man, but he's a very accomplished artist. And this is an important documentary, Kim, from the standpoint of it being a filmed documentation about, well, it's Mel Brooks at 99 reminiscing about his life, his friendships
Oh,
with Carl Reiner, and
mhm.
his career. And Judd Apatow interviews him on camera in what I think are very, very current interviews.
Mhm.
And so for this reason alone, for historical purposes, and it's delicious. And it's hard to criticize. It's all Mel Brooks. His early life, his struggles to break through as a comedy artist. He did stuff. He worked on this television show called Your Show of Shows with Sid Caesar, which was very funny, very funny. But after that, he really struggled. He couldn't get work, so he wanted to get into film. So he wrote two films, directed two films. One was The Producers, which actually won him an Academy Award for original screenplay, and The 12 Chairs, but they were commercially unsuccessful. So, but anyway, yeah, he had this balls out approach to comedy as kind of this prism through which he was able to communicate some very uncomfortable truths about the human condition, particularly our prejudices, and movies like, Blazing Saddles, which they could never make today. I mean, they wouldn't be allowed to make it today. Would be considered too. Yeah, no.
I have such good memories about Blazing Saddles because that movie, and my dad he was funny and he had a really good sense of humor, but not a lot really got to him.
Yeah.
But every time, and Blazing Saddles was one of his favorite movies, and every time he came upon it, he would laugh so hard he cried when that fart scene came on.
Oh my God,
Like,
yeah.
he
Which
could
they
not
show in
contain
this.
himself.
Yeah.
And so he's laughing, and then I'm laughing, and we're laughing till we're crying. And I don't even know what we're watching. And it's just that's why Mel Brooks will be in my heart, because he made my dad have
Oh
so
yeah,
much
that's
joy.
nice. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I mean, like I say, it's kind of pointless to criticize the style of this movie. It's like very boilerplate. But if you love Mel Brooks and how he's managed, as somebody observes in the film, and this is a paraphrase because I can't remember the exact quote, but they said he managed to redefine bad taste according to his own standards. Yeah, it's just, this movie made me smile. It did make me laugh. It made me appreciate who this man was just as a human being. I mean, he's beloved by his colleagues, and he really was, he is still, because he's still going strong. He's a comedy legend. He's a comedy genius. And those are words that are too often thrown around when talking about celebrities and such, but legend and genius are apt here when talking about Mel Brooks. And this movie, Mel Brooks, the 99-year-old man, dropped on HBO Max today. So awesome. People can check that out. It's really, it's a feel-good movie. I mean, Mel Brooks.
Awesome. And your classic movie recommendation of the week is My Fair Lady.
Oh, actually, that is the Broadway
did I get
play poster. No, that's Oh, that's so funny because I'm going to talk about. Yeah, leave that one on.
Okay,
Kim. I can't remember if My Fair Lady was a previous classic movie recommendation on the show, and if I have recommended it, well, I have a reason to re-recommend it because it's going to get this. It's going to receive an original roadshow presentation. I'll explain what that is in a second, in February at the Orinda Theater, which I'll talk about more in just a couple of minutes. But yeah, My Fair Lady, 1964, classic stage musical, made into a classic movie musical. That scene there was one of the funniest when they take her to the Ascot, but she's still not totally formed, and she makes a lot of verbal faux pas that are hysterical. But anyway, the movie won 8 Academy Awards. Yeah, that's it. That's the poster. That's a gorgeous poster. That's an example of a movie poster that was made in the 60s. That's really a work of art. I mean, it's just a beautiful, beautiful poster. But anyway, 8 Academy Awards it won. It stars Audrey Hepburn as Eliza Doolittle in a role that should have gone to Julie Andrews, who played it for 3.5 years on the stage, but we won't go into that history. That's why it's ironic you showed that. You showed the Broadway poster. Anyway, Rex Harrison plays Professor Henry Higgins. He won an Oscar. The director, George Cukor, won an Oscar, and it won Best Picture of 1964. It's great music, great lyrics by Frederick Lowe and Alan J. Lerner, respectively. I think the score contains at least a half a dozen songs that went on to become hits in their own right. And this period in Broadway and on movie musical screens and movie musical history was when popular music actually came from shows like My Fair Lady. The music industry has changed vastly since then. But anyway, yeah, My Fair Lady is based on a play by George Bernard Shaw, Pygmalion. It's lusciously filmed, it's beautifully directed, and I don't think I recommended this. Anyway, you can watch My Fair Lady on Prime Video, which is cool. But if you really want to experience My Fair Lady the way it was intended originally, it's going to be screened as part of Matthias Bomball's Hollywood widescreen roadshow series, held the second Sunday of each month at the Orinda Theater. You can see it the way it was meant to be seen, on the big screen in stereophonic sound, with a musical overture, with on-track music, with intermission music and intermission and exit music. There's going to be one show only, I think, February 8th at 11 a.m., and that's at the historic Orinda Theater. And if you've seen My Fair Lady before, or if you've never seen My Fair Lady before, this is the way I want to encourage people to see it, the way it was intended for you to see it on the big screen. Yeah, you want to check it out on Sunday, February 8th at 11 a.m. at the Orinda Theater. I'm going to make every personal effort to be there myself, because it's been a while since I've seen this gorgeous movie musical on the big screen, and it was made for the big screen, you know. So yeah, love My Fair Lady. I've seen it many times. It's one of my favorite movies.
You're not the only one that has a discrepancy with the actresses. I found this
oh yeah, there you go. It was I don't want to say it was scandalous. It kind of was. But the irony was that Julie Andrews, who played it on Broadway, she played it in London too. She played it on stage for 3.5 years. She had defined the role. Mm-hmm. She had a gorgeous singing voice, right? But when they came to make the movie, Jack Warner, who paid $5 million for the rights, which was an unheard of sum at that time, he wanted a star to ensure box office, and Julie Andrews wasn't a movie star. She had never made a movie. The irony was, in that same year, she made Mary Poppins, kind of like as a, it kind of worked out as a kind of compensatory thing, like not a default thing. It was like a gift that she got, and she went on to win the Oscar for Best Actress, and Audrey Hepburn, who's quite good in the role. She's a little old for it, maybe. She's not, because Eliza's supposed to be like 18, 19. She's a little old, but I think she's really good. But the irony is that they had to dub Audrey Hepburn singing, whereas Julie Andrews could have just, because Hepburn couldn't handle, I mean, you have to have a really trained and varied range, because those songs are not easy to sing. But it requires a trained soprano. They all require, the female lead require a trained soprano voice. And of course, Julie Andrews made the Broadway recording, the London recording, and she sang songs from the show in her concerts, and so beautifully. But that was the irony. And then, so anyway, yes.
Do you think the movie would have been better if Julie Andrews had been cast as the lead?
Yeah, that's a really good question. There are fans of hers that say, well, it's probably just as well that she wasn't, because the movie was not the movie it should have been, blah, blah, blah. I want to say yes, just because her performance would have been preserved on film. So I guess from that standpoint, I would say, yeah, it would have been better, even though I love Audrey Hepburn and I loved her in this movie. But I'd much rather have seen Julie Andrews. I mean, she knew the role in her sleep. Yeah. But because she had never made a movie, that, and at that time, Hollywood was thinking, like, yeah, if I paid all this money for the rights to this movie, I want the conventional wisdom was that you had to cast a star, but that wasn't always true either. It's like Hollywood they don't know what they're doing. They really don't. Nobody has any formula. They think they do. They'll have a success, and then they try to repeat it, and then it's never successful. Anyway, I could go on and on. But anyway, My Fair Lady is still a good movie, and it still holds up, and it's got great performances, and I recommend it, and yada, yada, yada.
All right, I'm going to call on you again, because I was so enthralled by your review on that I took no notes. So here's a quick review. Number one is Mercy. It says, a bland, not good movie. And here are your words: dumb, silly, goofy, stupid. No.
That's pretty much it.
Pretend this movie does not exist, not recommended, and that is enough said. A Private Life, a whole different story with this one. You said this is a pretty good movie. Jodie Foster is really good, shows off her perfect French, which is really fun to watch. You said the plot's a little jaggedy, but you really liked it. You're recommending this movie, and you said the end has a message about personal responsibility and is surprisingly moving. You recommend A Private Life, or Vie Privée.
Yeah, vie privée. Yeah, if that's the way you're supposed to say it. If anybody watching speaks French, yeah, they can give us the what's that? Not the annotated. What's that when they print something out accented? It's called something. Phonetically. Print out the phonetic way to pronounce it. Yeah, yeah.
Death by Lightning on Netflix. We both saw this. You said this is an excellent series. It's great casting. You really liked it a lot, and you recommend Death by Lightning, about the death of President Garfield. As for Mel Brooks, the 99-year-old man, you said this is a really good documentary. It is about Mel Brooks' life. That's got current interviews, so for historical reasons you recommend it, but you said it's delicious. The movie made you smile and laugh and appreciate who he was, which was a comedy legend and genius. Mel Brooks, the 99-year-old man, on HBO Max. And your classic movie rec of the week is My Fair Lady with Audrey Hepburn, and you highly recommend this classic movie from 1964.
Absolutely. Yeah,
because you said it's good.
Yes, well, because I also wanted to highlight the fact that it's going to be playing in a roadshow presentation, meaning that when in the 50s and 60s, when widescreen came into being, when television was sort of like really hurt the movie-going audience, studios had to come up with new ways to present movies, and they had Hollywood had a thing that was known as the roadshow presentation. So you'd have to buy your tickets ahead of time. They were assigned seats, like you're going to the theater, and a movie like My Fair Lady would be presented. There'd be like an overture, the lights would dim, the curtains would open, the movie would start. Then there'd be an intermission, because usually the movie would be the roadshow movie would be, lengthy. So you'd get a chance for a break, then you'd come back, there'd be music to guide you into the second half. And
and that's what
great.
They're doing at the Orinda Theater.
That's what they're right.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing at the Orinda on Sunday, February 8th at 11 a.m. And it's, I don't know, it's really inexpensive. I don't know what the price is, but it's
$15 according to the website.
Okay, $15. I mean, you can't really. It's worth every penny, and it's the best way to watch My Fair Lady. So.
That's awesome. Yeah. So that is the website, Orinda Movie.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you, Kim, for showing that.
All of that. 11 a.m. Sunday, February 8th. All right. Tim, awesome. Thank you so much. So much fun talking to you.
Oh, same to you, Kim. I'll be talking to you next week.
At the Movies with Tim Sika. Bye-bye, Tim Sika.
Bye, Kim McAllister.
At the Movies with Tim Sika. Absolutely love when Tim comes on. I will pull this video and you will be able to see it as a standalone video with Tim Sika's movie reviews this week. And if you check any out, please email me and let me know. The email address is kim@theafterparty.live. There it is, kim@theafterparty.live. Feel free to let me know what you saw. A lot of people message and say, I'm waiting for Tim Sika's classic movie recommendation of the week, and we watch it every weekend. So I'm glad to hear about that. Let me know what you liked and what your opinions were as well, and I'll make sure to share those things with Tim. I got a thank you from Susan's. Tim S. Always love hearing your reviews. Zero Sum agrees. Death by Lightning was really good. Cameo, always a good time with Tim Sika. Love the classic movie recommendations. Absolutely. Tammy says thank you to Tim. And Yvonne says thank you to Tim. And Eileen says thank you to Tim. And speaking of going to your community theater, Yvonne also says need to go to the Stanford Theater in Palo Alto and look up what's playing there much this spring. It won't be here much longer because in April, Oh, she'll be in April starting in Santa Cruz starting in April. Yeah, it's keeping those local movie theaters alive. We have one in Petaluma. We didn't have one for a while, and then they built one because a bunch of teenage girls decided that we needed to have a theater in Petaluma. Their names are in stars on the front as you walk into the theater. And so it's a kind of a special thing that we still have a theater in this town, and something to do is support your local theater, especially when they do stuff like the Orinda Theater and the Roxy, and they have really interesting programming that you can't find just anywhere. So all right, let us move into some of the other stories. Here's something I learned today. Had no idea that snow is not white. Did you know? Were you aware? Because I did not know. Maybe I'm the last person to learn this, but I had no idea that snow is actually super colorful. I know. I'll explain the science to you. It's because of what happens with light that makes snow look white. Snow is simply ice. Scientists say that it melts as it descends through warmer pockets of air before hitting the earth. And even those warmer summer showers in July begin as snow. In order for snow to fall to earth, it has to remain frozen as it falls through different temperature layers above the ground. So it needs to be cold all the way from the clouds to the ground. And here is the kicker. The reason snow appears white has to do with those beautiful natural artworks that we call snowflakes. When it snows, there's a lot of traffic on the way down. The air is filled with tiny particles like dust and soot and pollen. And for snowflakes to form a freezing water droplet, it attaches itself to one of those floating dust, soot, or pollen particles. And as the ice particle falls, more and more minuscule bits of water vapor freeze to it. Due to the way that water molecules bond together when they freeze, a tiny hexagonal form begins to appear. Ah, yes, the snowflake. And there it is. Eventually, you end up with a beautiful six-sided shape that we call the snowflake. Due to their intricate crystal form, snowflakes reflect light almost like a mirror, and that causes snow to look white. Sunlight emits all colors of the visible spectrum: red, orange, yellow, blue, green, indigo, violet, Roy G. Biv, right? When those colors hit snow, each multi-sided ice crystal or snowflake scatters colors like a tiny prism, and all of those colors shine equally in all directions, and our eyes perceive all of those colors colliding together as white. I'm telling you, people, I had no idea. I just thought it was white. The scientist says sometimes with an ice cube, the light will be able to go straight through it. But with snow, we have this kind of broken mirror effect with light bouncing off all of these jagged edges. Now, we know you can make the joke about yellow snow, right? And we've seen dirty snow. They say most of the time, though, snow looks white. But if there are sand grains, snow could look a little more golden brown. Snow could get a little red hue if there's some rust or bacteria or algae in the air or the ground. They have what's called watermelon snow. It looks like pink snow or blood snow. That's the result of a green algae that lives in freezing water. So there are different colors of snow. Also, in Antarctica, penguin droppings can also stain the snow pink because of the food they eat, the krill. There's a bluish tint of glaciers, like in Iceland and Alaska, because of the deep, compact ice absorbing light's longer wavelengths, yellows and reds, and then scatters shorter blue wavelengths back toward our eyes. It's called albedo or albedo, ALBEDO. I might put this as a trivia question. Albedo is the measure of how much sunlight a surface reflects. 0 albedo means a surface has no reflection. Like Freshly paved asphalt, they say, has almost zero albedo. One albedo, 100% reflection, stands for a perfectly white surface. A grass lawn might have an albedo of 0.20, with tiny molecules, chlorophyll, absorbing the red and blue lights that grass needs for photosynthesis. Very fresh snow can be 0.85 albedo or even a little higher. It is very reflective. But if you start putting particulates on the snow, like soot or smoke, its reflectivity drops. Did we learn anything today, or am I the only one in the class that learned? Because I had no idea. Zero idea. Albedo. It's ALBEDO, albedo. Not Mr. Beto, but yes. Like coming in on a rainbow, a la Michael Snyder. That's right. Nullifidian wishes we could get snow in Nevada. Remember having snow in East Texas when I was a kid. It did snow once in Petaluma in my front yard, and my mom's front yard. Snowed right here. It didn't stick around very long, but it was there. Does it come through a rainbow? I don't know. Yes, Kim. Or cold. I saw a video about snow not being white just the other day. Well, see, here you go. Sometimes it's yellow, says Tammy. I knew it. All right. We will move on to giant kangaroos. I found a picture of the biggest kangaroo that I could possibly find. This is a big boy. He's huge. Apparently, in the Ice Age times, kangaroos were massive. 550 pounds, 6.5 feet tall. They were huge. And researchers were looking at them going, okay, with that size, they must not have had the hop. They must not have been as able to move as the smaller kangaroos of today. But now researchers are saying that is not true. That assuming that this giant kangaroo of the Ice Age lost its ability to hop because it was too bulky suggests that you are applying the same body systems to those Ice Age kangaroos as to today's kangaroos. They say the physical act of hopping would become mechanically impossible above 330 feet. But at the University of Manchester, an evolutionary scientist says your assumption is actually the problem there, because previous estimates were based on simply scaling up modern kangaroos, and then that meant that researchers were missing crucial anatomical differences. The new findings show these animals weren't just larger versions of today's kangaroos, but they were built differently too, in ways that help them manage their enormous size. There's a whole story today in the journal Scientific Reports looking at the giant kangaroos of the Ice Age, comparing present-day kangaroo skeletal anatomy with the fossils of the massive kangaroos of the Ice Age. And they focused on hopping, foot bone strength, and how an ankle could support strong enough tendons to facilitate locomotion in these massive creatures. Very interesting story. Okay, I have another story for you as well. I know I'm kind of moving fast because I feel like I'm running out of time, but there is a hotel, a rendering of a hotel meant to go on the moon. I know. It's the first moon hotel. Now, it's not built yet. And I don't know how we're going to get up there to hang out and stay, spend a week's vacay on the moon. But there's a San Francisco startup design studio called GRU. And they have released these plans for a moon hotel. It is made of regolith bricks. And the folks at GRU say it will be the first ever permanent off-Earth structure built in history if they can manage to complete it. The hotel concept would be established in phases. The GRU stands for Galactic Resource Utilization. It has the company first implementing a program for high-end lunar tourism, and then eventually building this permanent hotel on the moon. They say we live during an inflection point where we can actually become interplanetary before we die. The key technical challenge we face is that humans can't expand beyond Earth until we solve habitation on the moon. It is, they say, a Promethean moment that allows for an exciting future in space. If we succeed, billions of human lives will be born on the moon and Mars and be able to experience the beauty of lunar and Martian life. Yeah, good luck, fat chance. I don't think so. But the pictures of the hotel, as you can see on the screen, show it with this central rotunda and 3 enclosed colonnades that branch off of the building and lead to smaller buildings. The facade covered with what are called engaged Doric columns, and the material is this gray textured brick, which would cover internal inflatable modules. It would make this, the final step, a proprietary habitation module system and automated process for transforming lunar soil into durable brick structures. That's the regolith bricks. The first iteration of the hotel would be an inflatable structure constructed on Earth and shipped up to the moon. And the final hotel would be able to host up to 10 guests and would be accessible via commercial flights operated by companies like Blue Origin and SpaceX. The company has big plans for this. They want to install the first inflated version of this hotel by 2032. I think that's kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's not too ambitious. We'll see. And then they would test it on the moon's surface, and then they would get the regolith up. 2032. You think we'll see this hotel on the moon by 2032? I'm going to the chat to see what you think. 2032, and we're sleeping on the moon. Can you have a swimming pool? I don't think so. No. Will the hotel have artificial gravity? It would have to, right? When you walk inside. How are you going to sleep? Because you could strap you to the bed. I don't know. The freight charge is going to be out of this world, says Tammy. No, says Liz. Not happening by 2032. Not a chance, says Nullifidian. Tammy says this sounds like people that should donate their money. Not going to happen. All right, I have one more story for you guys. And this is another design story about this massive Bic pen, but it's kind of like it's a light. It's like a lamp. I know, it's weird. It's a pen light. It's in honor of the anniversary of the Bic pen. And this thing is huge. It's a Bic crystal ballpoint pen. It's designed by the light, not the pen, Mario Paroli. It's designed to mark the end of Bic's brand celebrations for Bic Crystal's 75th anniversary. This Bic lamp is 12 times the size of a standard pen. It comes in pendant, wall, and floor variations in the choice of red, blue, or black. So here's your red Bic light, and here's your blue Bic light. That's cool. I could see that being kind of fun for maybe a kid's room or something. Probably not what they had in mind, but I mean, I don't know if I wanted, if I had a modern weird house, I don't know. Not that modern houses are weird, but like, I don't know. I don't think I would put it in my living room or anything, but that's what it is. And it's kind of cool. It lights up, operates like a big old lamp. Your giant Bic light. It is called funny, clever, something that might work or not, depending on the price. They don't tell me how much it is. I don't know how much it is. Yeah, I don't know if I like it. What do you think? Would you put the Bic pen light up in your house? It's kind of cute, says Agent Kitty Feets. Would make a fun grow light, says Tammy. I like it placed more vertically. I like the pen light, says Zero Sum. I would have it. All right. Yeah. Okay. It is kind of cute. I'll give you that. Not bad at all. You like I like it this way too, instead of the other way. And it's hard to tell from the other picture how big it actually is. When you put it next to a couch, you can tell it's got some serious size. Although that one looks more like it's floating. So blue, black, or red. And again, they don't tell you how much it costs, so I don't know. I would like to ask you to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for sharing the show, and thank you so much for spending your time here. I know it's Friday, people are getting ready to travel or do their weekend stuff. Have you been doing, by the way, your 5 minutes of exercise? Just little things, just an extra 5 minutes of movement to prolong your life. I don't want to be a nag. I don't want to be a mom, but I've been doing mine. And I love that people after the show go on their walk, do their thing, get moving. It makes me feel good. So I hope that you're doing your 5 minutes of exercise. Do 5 minutes today and see if you like it. And then maybe tomorrow. And then maybe on Sunday. And then maybe a few days from now, we'll throw it up to 10. You know, got to do it. Thank you to everyone who contributes to this show. Wes yesterday with 5, Alicia P, Vicky S, another Wes. Thank you so much for contributing to the After Party Live. This is the reason the show exists. Luis comes in with 5. I love the After Party Live, he says, where the only ice is in our drinks or in the cave. Absolutely. Thanks, Kim and After Party Live community for serving up fun and escapism every day. If a giant Bic lamp doesn't say escapism, I don't know what does. Thank you, Luis, for the contribution. Really, really appreciate it. All right, everybody, make it the very best weekend. I will see you. Oh, and by the way, if anybody wonders, Julia did not pass her driver's test. She drove too slow. She was really nervous. She was so upset too, you guys, so upset. She can retake it in 15 days. So we'll push a pause on that and I'll let you know how it all works out. All right. Have a really good rest of your weekend. I will see you back here on Monday, 11 a.m.-ish for the Mark Thompson Show. Bye, everyone.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
It counts, Mama. The lady was really mean. She said the lady was awful and called her a hazard on the road. I had a hard time not laughing, but she was going 25 to 35 in a 40. Apparently that's enough to fail you.